Hi everyone, my name is Emily and I'm the young adult librarian at the Rock Island Public Library. And for this Manga Monday, I bring you a series that I've been reading for a long time. It begins on Christmas and it is called Hayate the Combat Butler. And in this book, you meet a young man named Hayate. And Hayate Ayasaki is 16. And he is somebody who is very troubled in terms of the life he is currently leading with his parents is challenging. He has to work part-time basically all the time, and his parents are unemployed. This is why he is working so much at 16. His dad, to quote Hayate, dreams on and doesn't look for a steady job, while his mom says things like, "Mommy's not buying horse racing tickets, I'm buying dreams." So his parents love to gamble. And at this point, like, as the book is beginning, like, we get Santa on the very first page because what Santa tells Hayate when he is a kid is that the earnest and honest are the ones who deserve the last laugh. But even then, I won't be giving you a present. So that's sort of how Hayate, his life is that of a hardworking and kind young man who has very, very bad luck. And to wit, what happens very early on in chapter 1, Hayate's hurrying to work, and he gets fired. And he asks his boss, "Why is that? You know, I've been doing my share." And the boss says, "You're definitely the best and fastest in our company." And Hayate's like, "Then why?" And his boss says, "Ayasaki-kun, you lied about your age. Our hiring policy is 18 years and older. I heard that you're only 16 years old." And it turns out Hayate's parents are the ones who talk to his boss. So Hayate's boss, in the spirit of being a responsible adult, or so he thinks, he gives Hayate's last paycheck to his parents when they stop by to inform this boss, "Oh yeah, our son is actually 16. And this, I mean, it was 170,000 yen, which in terms of conversion rates, this comes down to about $1,700 that Hayate had earned. And his parents, getting his check, well, of course, they go blow it on pachinko. And when Hayate says this, his boss is like, "Don't be ridiculous. There's no parents like that." Well, there are, and they're Hayate's parents. So now he's thinking, okay, well, how am I supposed to live? Like, I have to earn money to, like, feed myself. My parents are never at home. They're always out spending money. Like, whatever money they can make, they will immediately gamble away. But upon getting home, he finds an envelope taped to a window. And it says, "To Hayate-kun. Dear Hayate-kun, Christmas present for you." And Hayate's thinking, what's this? A Christmas present for my parents? It can't be. And it's not a traditional Christmas present. No, instead it's an IOU. What this is, it's a loan agreement. And the loan was for 156,804,000 yen. So, again, you can sort of just, like, take zeros away from, like, if you subtract 2 zeros from any yen amount, you will get to the dollar amount. And in Hayate's case, this is still quite bad, because this is about $1 million that Hayate is in debt to now, because the IOU, his parents, well, they made this loan agreement in his name. They borrowed this money, and they say, do your best to pay it back. And what they've done, in terms of, like, their gambling has gotten to the point that, all right, they're just sort of out of the picture from this point on. Like, I've been reading this series for many years, and eventually we meet Hayate's older brother, but we do not meet his parents. They've just, like, done a runner, which is for the best for Hayate, because, yeah, this is how his parents are. The reason they were able to make this loan agreement is they didn't have any money, obviously. So instead, they promised Hayate's organs to the Yakuza. That's where they got this money. And the idea is they're going to, I mean, the Yakuza being the Japanese mafia, they're going to collect. They're going to collect on this loan, and so they are going to be selling his organs. Like, that's what the Yakuza will do when they catch up with Hayate. So it's Christmas, and this is what Hayate is dealing with. He has to find a way to basically obtain $1 million so he isn't killed by the Yakuza, and then, you know, have his organs sold on the black market. And he's thinking, all right, well, it's over. There's no way I can make $1 million. Like, I'm not like my parents. I'm not just going to buy a lottery ticket and hope for the best. So first, Hayate meets a young woman. And it turns out her name is Nagi. And he sees, like, these creepy guys kind of talking with her. But this is already after Hayate has seen this girl and decided, I think the only way for me to make this money is to kidnap someone. So he helps this girl, and she's very grateful, you know, like, drives away these creepy dudes, like talking to a 13-year-old at a vending machine, like, hey, too bad you're alone on Christmas. Because in Japan, traditionally, Christmas is a dating holiday. But this girl is 13, so Hayate's like, hey, get away. Because he's planning to kidnap her. But this girl is grateful, and, you know, she, like, says, oh, thank you so much, but she's not really dressed for the weather. Like, she just came out to get a drink, and now she's out in the cold. And so Hayate, like, puts his jacket over her. And she says, what a cheap coat. It's like, well, yeah, I don't have any money. It's crudely stitched, and the fabric is heavy. Never mind how baggy it is. But it's warm. I like it. And, you know, thank you so much for helping me. Well, Hayate says, will you go with me? I want you. And then in parentheses it says, as a hostage. So this girl is like, whoa, I don't know how this suddenly happened. She thinks that Hayate is confessing his love. Like, hey, I just met you, but I'm suddenly madly in love with you. Will you please be my girlfriend? Like, that's how she's reading the situation. And Hayate's thinking, well, okay, I don't know how this misunderstanding happened, but Hayate recognizes the Yakuza, they're coming after him. So he knows, okay, I'm going to kidnap this apparently somewhat naive young woman, and then I can hopefully hold her for ransom. I don't know where her family will get the money, but that's their problem, not mine. Again, Hayate is intrinsically, I would say, a good person. And so even when he tries to be a bad person, his main feature is bad luck. And so this doesn't work out, to the point that he meets Maria, who knows this young woman, Nagi, and Maria's out on her bike, and they talk. So within the first 2 chapters of this book, Hayate attempts to become a kidnapper, and he fails miserably, and he's actually injured protecting this young woman, Nagi. And so it turns out she's super rich. That's the good news. Like, she can pay off his debt, and she does in this first volume. But the deal they make is he now has to work as her butler, and that's where the title comes from. So he's going to have to pay off his debt to Nagi, because she did save his life. Like, he saved her life, then she saves his by paying off the Yakuza, paying the money that Hayate's parents borrowed in his name. Now, of course, this is a fun conflict where Hayate is too young to legally have most jobs, but he is old enough in the world of this comic for his parents to say, yeah, we're just taking out a loan with the Yakuza in your name. Good luck. So the book is Hayate being Nagi's butler, and there are a lot of volumes in this series. I think I'm on volume 40-something. I don't actually remember. This for me is just, it's a series that starts in the winter, but it is what is called a harem comedy. And so that means there are lots of girls in this series who meet Hayate and fall in love with him, even if they start out thinking, oh man, what's this dude's deal? Why is he working as a butler? Like, he's still in high school. I will say, unlike a lot of series of this genre, at least with Hayate, it's this thing where, oh, this person can cook and clean and is very talented at a lot of things and is caring for people. He always puts others before himself, which can be another thing that gets him into trouble. So at least you kind of understand, like, oh, that's why these girls like him. Like, it makes sense because he's a likable person. But of course, the romance here, like, there's not really. There's comedy, but it's like almost all the characters are in high school. And the interesting thing about a series like this, something I read once, is if a harem comedy goes on long enough, you kind of get to see what sort of manga the creator really wants to make. And so in this case, yes, there's drawings of cute girls, and oh no, there's a misunderstanding where Hayate accidentally sees Maria in the bath because, like, he went to take a bath, and it's like, oh, I didn't realize somebody was here because we live in a mansion and this place is huge. But as the book goes on, like, the last arc I finished, I think it was, yeah, like, volume 40 was maybe the end of this arc, and it was this manga contest where, I mean, Nagi, her whole thing as the series goes on, She is a young woman of privilege. She's always had whatever she's wanted because she comes from a rich family. But as time passes, various events happen, and instead of being rich, Hayate is helping, and she has various friends, but Nagi's dream is to be a manga author, like to create her own manga. And her whole thing is, this is something I'm going to do through my own hard work and talent. Like, I'm not going to just be handed this. Obviously, I know I have to work hard. And so she gets into this bet with another young woman, an idol, like a professional singer named Ruka, who also has this dream. Like, she loves to sing, she loves to perform, but her thing is, okay, but I really love manga, and I want to do that. So these two have a bet, and whoever sells the most manga at a comic fest, like a zine sort of convention for manga creators, that person gets Hayate. Because by this time, Ruka has confessed her love to Hayate. She's the first person to really do this in a concrete way. Like, everybody else, there's like romantic misunderstandings, but nobody actually says, hey, I want to date you. Like, we're both in high school, let's go out. Like, nobody says that. Everybody, because of this type of romantic comedy, there's misunderstandings, and there's a lot of ridiculous things that happen, but it's a fun series. And again, I enjoy reading it. I've read it for years now. This book came out in 2006, and I read it at Christmas, I think, in 2011, and I still enjoy it. Like, it's the kind of thing where I take to the pool, and it's been fun to see how the characters have grown and how the author's sort of style has changed. The art in this first book is very different from the art by the time volume 40 rolls around. And of course, that's because manga creators, they have assistants, they have people who can help them. But it's also because this creator, Kenjiro Hara, has been working hard at this manga for, I guess, almost 2 decades at this point. He has another series now also, which is called Fly Me to the Moon, and it's similar in the sense that it's like a romantic comedy between older teens. So if you like that sort of thing, if you enjoy manga, or if you want to know, like, hey, what is this genre like? Well, this is a good example. Again, because I would say over time, it kind of grows from this sort of one note. The harem comedy genre can be, I will say, a bit much. It's something that I read a lot because when I was first reading manga, as somebody in high school, like in the late 90s, beginning of the century, this was the stuff that got published. So I'm talking about like Love Hina and later Negima. These were by Ken Akamatsu, the name I keep trying to say here. But this author has really kind of taken this genre and made it something where you like the characters. Like, maybe you like the characters in other series, in other harem comedies, but they get their own arcs. Like, they get to change and grow. And they say with sitcoms, like, people don't get to stay on a sitcom. Like, a character will be written off if they, like, grow and change too much. But with this series, it's kind of changed to reflect the characters' journeys, and I really enjoy that. Like, it's become less of who's going to end up with Hayate, and instead, how are these different people going to achieve their dreams? So, check it out. And thank you for watching. I will see you again soon, and Merry Christmas.